This is the Relevant Podcast.
It's episode 1116, and it's the Relevant Podcast. Here in Orlando, I'm your host, Cameron Strang, and joining me from Loverland, Virginia, is Jesse Carey.
Hello, hello.
From Nashville, Tennessee, artist, producer, mogul, Derek Miner.
What's happening?
Just down the road there, our managing editor, downtown Emily Brown.
Hey, y'all.
Brentwood Emily Brown.
Okay. Don't give my
Antioch,
exact
Brentwood,
address
Emily
away.
Brown.
My God.
Dang, big hater energy right here. Big hater.
What do you mean,
energy.
hater? I live there too. What are you
Wait,
talking
I'm
about?
actually not in Brentwood. I am in Nashville.
Where are you at?
I'm not going to give my address, bleep it out, but I am in Nashville.
She's like, you know where the hot chicken place? I live above
Send
it.
us a pin. Send us a pin. We'll make the determination.
Okay.
All right, and from L.A., from Social Club Misfits, it's Marty.
What's up? I'm here.
You are here. We have a great show in store for you today. I'm excited about this one. Okay, I'm going to start. Normally, I'd start with the guest, and I'm going to start with the last segment. Coming up later, we have your feedback. And if you remember last week's show, Jesse, at the end of the show, got talking about running for president under a new party called the Common Sense Party. He wants to abolish daylight savings time. He wants to make the hot dogs match the buns, number-wise. He's common sense. Let's just knock out the easy stuff first. Bring America together. Okay.
Yeah.
We asked you for more things for the Common Sense Party platform, and you did not disappoint. It is amazing, the roster of feedback we have coming up later today.
I might actually run for office should this feedback be to the caliber you're describing.
I mean, Jesse, you have to get a certain number of names on a petition to get on the ballot.
How hard could it be?
Based on the feedback we got, the support you would have running for office, you could absolutely get on at least 2 states' ballots. I promise.
All I need. I just want to make some noise this time around and
shake it up.
What's the Ralph? You're going to be the Ralph Nader. You're going to be the Ralph Nader.
You're always just there.
You're just there, taking votes away from other parties, but not enough.
I feel like if I get to the point where I have a parody character on SNL, I've made it. That's my political.
That's the actual goal. Not really trying to do anything. Discourse. Just want to be a parody
Most
character
funny
on
people's goal is to get on SNL. Your funny person goal is to be mentioned
parodied.
on SNL.
Exactly. Exactly. Be a punchline.
That's pretty cool.
Exactly.
We're halfway there.
We have a great Relevant Buzz coming up. There's a lot happening this week. And then we also have Cold War Kids. They're our guests this week. Cold War Kids. They were on our cover back in I'm going to say 2008 or 9, as when they were emerging. And then now they put out 10 albums, and they have a new one coming out. We talked to Cold War Kids.
They're great. Before we came on, Marty, you were saying that artists there was a window.
Yeah.
Explain your observation, Marty, and then I have a theory.
Yeah. So it's not even an observation. It's actually been a conversation I've been having over here with label people and stuff. And the conversation started with 50 Cent selling out his tour in a day. 24 hours, sold 50,000 tickets. Not quite Taylor Swift numbers.
That still shocks me, though.
Still shocking. So we were talking about how there are certain artists from about 2005 and it's a certain window that there's certain artists that are just going to always be around and always going to thrive. And it's almost like the music was shaped for entire, almost like cultures were generations were bleeding into each other, and parents were now listening to hip hop. It was just a different time. And so those artists within that window, it's like a 10-year window, are still majorly successful. You go to Kings of Leon, who came out, 2005, 6, was really the peak years.
I'm sorry. Did
still
you say
selling out.
Leon? There's a little thing
Leon,
on it?
is that what it is?
It's Leon. Kings of Leon. It's Kings of Leon.
Leon? Dang, I've been to 3 shows, and I was wearing merch on one of the other episodes. I was wearing a shirt.
There's no tilde over the O. It's just Leon.
Yeah, but I'm Spanish, so I only know one other person. It's Leon.
That sounds like a medieval gang like Robin of Locksley would have fought.
I know a Leon. I don't know Leon. I don't know. I guess I thought they were classy. Anyway, so yeah, there's this window of artists, and they're majorly successful. And I would say Cold War Kids is one of those artists that will never go away, always going to sell out. Actually, if I'm not mistaken, Cold War Kids opened up for Kings of Leon, right? Leon, you said it was? Yeah. That's the name of it now. Yeah. They opened up for them. And I mean, it was a show of like 10,000 people. It was in West Palm. It was incredible.
There was this era that Relevant, our print magazine, covered very heavily from like 2007 to 2012, I would say, of like indie artists like the XX or the Kills or Kings of Leon was on the cover. Cold War Kids, like it was an amazing era of music. And I agree with your observation that it was this weird transitional moment where that music still holds up. Like it's a good era. And so people are still into it. And it birthed what we're hearing now, you know? So it's like, it's so influential to the artists. Deconstructed electronic pop, like James Blake led to Yes. I mean, there's like so many.
Kanye West, you know, like how many songs did Travis Scott write now? And it's the first era. They used to say this back in the day when I first started making music. It's the era where parents and kids can enjoy the same thing. So at one point they started making movies like that where parents and kids can enjoy the same thing. Cause like the gap was different than maybe us with our parents, you know?
Oh, yeah. I think we're also in this era where it's like so much happening at once. You don't realize how many different tribes there are of people that love certain stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like I remember back in the day when a Drake album would drop, the whole world's attention would be on Drake. He'd have it for like 2 weeks. But now it's just Drake's people have his attention, and you know, Kings and Leon's people have their attention. And it just seems like we're just in these silos of
the tribes.
Almost like, like we're in the 90s fan club era. You remember that era where it was like you got to fan. Yeah. Emily shaking her head
like,
no, because she's a
I was
but,
5.
Yeah. But if you remember the song Stan from Eminem, or if you heard the song Stan from Eminem, it's from a fan writing him a letter to his fan club and he not getting back to him in time. And then the last verse is Eminem actually responding to him. Like we're back to me in that fan club era where big artists are being birthed from their tribe. But I think the thing is we have so much information now, we may never even see those artists. Like there's guys that have 4 million monthly listeners on Spotify, and you've never heard of them before in your life, unless something goes viral and then they pop out into the mainstream for like 5 seconds and then go back home.
Well, yeah, you know? I mean, there's no more like, well, I don't say it doesn't exist, but we've talked about it before, like the monoculture of everyone kind of everywhere experiencing the same culture to some degree, you know, now only exists for like certain art, the certain caliber of artists, or like a sporting event or like an election or something. But it's not just with music, like we said before. It's like it's that way with movies or TV shows. It used to be like you can make a reference to a TV show and everyone at least knew the reference. Now, you know, everything is so divided because of choice and technology that we are getting more and more siloed. Yeah. But all I'd say,
Okay, so maybe the thing about that era of 2007 to 2012, it was like the last musical era before Spotify.
Yeah, exactly.
And everybody went so niche. And so we all were listening to.
That's what it was. I forgot. That's actually what it was. It's the physical album era. Anybody who sold physical albums in the 2000s, literally Adele said this. She said, if you bought, they call it the Adele effect, where if you bought an album before, you will, like, that type of fan base is locked in forever. Like they're locked in. If you bought a physical album of your favorite artist, you might be locked in forever.
It's before music got free and disposable.
Yeah.
So like I'm invested in this artist. I care about this artist. I'm going to tell my friends about this artist. We're all listening to the new Cold War Kids album. But now it's like I could be listening to stuff, you know, because it's all free and disposable. I don't need to talk about it, post about it, care about it, because I have no skin in the game. That's interesting.
I just read an article where a guy said that Taylor Swift is the last megastar. She's the last like person that gets the attention of the world every time she drops that. He says that there will be people selling out arenas.
Beyonce does
the
that,
Weeknd,
right?
Well, I'm saying like
he's saying
that
the last
era.
one. Like she's the youngest one.
She's the last of that era.
She's
right?
older than The Weeknd.
Okay,
The
well,
Weeknd,
way bigger.
literally, I read today that The Weeknd, in the last decade, he has the 2 top selling singles of the last 10 years is The Weeknd.
But I think the point you're missing is they all came around in the same era.
Same time. You're right.
Yeah, they're around the same era. So the idea is that era, that's the last era of we can grab everybody's attention. Now, what he said is people will sell out arenas still. People will have huge followings. Everyone just won't know about it. It'll just be in its own little world.
Like a public big figure like that. Like, hey, pop culture, talk about it at dinner table.
Right, because remember, we would get all our news from like Complex, or you would get all of your pop culture news from these like blogs where everybody came and kind of gathered around. But now, because everybody is kind of in their own tribe, in their own world, there's guys that are blowing up, selling out arenas, doing big dates, and we don't know anything about it because there's no way the information can get to everyone.
Well, I think Cameron and I were kind of talking about this week. It was announced that I think in 2 weeks' time, the SNL musical guest is this like little up and coming pop star, this girl named Tate McRae. I didn't realize how big she was. Like I am obviously very into the pop music. I'd heard her songs. I went and looked. She has like, I think 30 something million.
She a country artist?
No, she's pop, like
indie pop.
Indie
pop,
like
indie pop kind of. She had
what song does she sing? Sing it for me, Emily.
Big TikTok stuff. Just
big TikTok stuff.
Emily, sing this song so we all can.
Her big song right now is called. She has a song called "Greedy." And she's good, but I was like really surprised when they announced that because I was like, I don't think she's that big of a pop star. Like I could name a few of her songs. Again, I very famously am like very into the world of pop music. I was like so shocked to see how many monthly listeners she'd had and like streams that she had on her songs.
I mean, she's had songs with over 1.3 billion streams.
Wow.
And
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I can name an artist right now, Danny Ocean. Has anyone ever heard of that person? Danny Ocean.
Frank Ocean and Danny Goki.
He has 10. Yeah, Danny Ocean has 10 diamond singles.
That's
You know what I'm saying? Like
crazy.
that's the type of what we're like. He's a Latin guy, 10 diamond, and like that's what I'm like. That's where we're all literally in our own group. Like that girl is in our own group, And Danny has been there for 10 years.
I would like to point out, Derek, that you have picked at a scab and a wound that has turned my life and work at Relevant upside down. Is you're talking about the fact that back in the day there were curators, there were gatekeepers, complex.com, people looked at Relevant, whatever. We were platforming these artists. We all look to it. Boom. Now that gatekeeper is gone.
Yeah.
I would say SNL is maybe the last kind of version of that because it's like we're all watching SNL. We see that artist and that person
like
may come from another
TV,
world.
maybe.
But think about her. She's got 1.3 billion listens on one of her singles. She's going to go to SNL. 3 million people will see it.
Right.
So it's still like that
She's
gatekeeper isn't
SNL.
even breaking her.
Yeah.
She's bigger than SNL. That's what I'm saying. Without
That's a crazy
the
thought.
gatekeepers.
She's bigger than SNL.
Right.
Wow.
Without the gatekeepers.
But the other thing too, like I think it's beyond pop culture outlets. It's the algorithms are the gatekeepers. What serves you, what you get served in a playlist, what related artists show up next to whatever you're listening to. It really is like the algorithms have taken over. Have taken over.
And none of us have the same
role.
algorithm, so we don't have the same music experience anymore.
Exactly.
Whereas before, we'd all look at Complex. Complex is saying this artist is the next big thing, and we all paid attention. So yeah, I'm with you, man. It's weird. Anyway, Cold War Kids.
I'm excited. Cold War Kids.
There you go. They're coming up.
Kings of Leon.
Kings of Leon.
They were on our cover too, and I when they were on our cover, they came up in the church, right? Like they're the Kings of Leon brothers traveled around with their evangelist dad. They were the band. That's how they came up. Crazy story. Their huge breakout single in the early 2000s was "Your Sex Is on Fire." Right?
Yeah.
You remember that? And so we got an interview with them. Their new album was coming out. Like we wanted to talk to them about their interesting, crazy faith story and all that kind of stuff. And I put on the cover Kings of Leon, like sex, God, and rock and roll or something like that, right? Our distribution of the magazine at that time was half in Christian bookstores, and I had the word sex huge on the cover. We got pulled from Lifeway. We got pulled from Family Christian stores, all because of Kings of Leon. So anyway, there you go, kids.
And now what happened to them? So
Good job,
I guess
Kings
we
of
win,
Leon.
Well, where are they now? What happened to them? Who knows?
Oh, man.
One Relevant, one Cameron, 0 Family Christian bookstore.
They're all gone now.
In Appleton, Wisconsin.
All right, stay tuned. Up next, it's Relevant Buzz. You're listening to Prep. The song is Open Up. Well, today's show is brought to you by HelloFresh. With HelloFresh, you get farm fresh, pre-portioned ingredients and seasonal recipes delivered right to your doorstep. And right now, they have a great deal for Relevant Podcast listeners. Skip trips to the grocery store and count on HelloFresh to make home cooking easy, fun, and affordable. That's why it's America's #1 meal kit. Even though the fall can feel jam-packed, HelloFresh makes whipping up a home-cooked dinner actually doable with quick and easy options, including their 15-minute meals. It's less time than it takes to go get delivery, y'all. Also, you can turn to HelloFresh Market for yummy add-ons and enjoy the season's limited-time fall flavors lineup. Feast on desserts like apple cider cake with caramel sauce, or please a crowd with appetizers like the barbecue pulled pork nachos. Don't forget the mini pumpkin cheesecake. I've been using HelloFresh for years. I've been a subscriber. I love it. It's a great way to create delicious meals at home. And right now, Relevant listeners can get 50% off plus free shipping. Go to HelloFresh.com/50relevant, 50relevant, and use code 50relevant for 50% off plus free shipping. Again, go to HelloFresh.com/50relevant and use code 50relevant for 50% off plus free shipping. All right, it's time for
Relevant Buzz.
Hey, Emily, what's happening at the intersection of faith and culture this week?
I'd love to tell you. All right. Well, you guys know Chip and Joanna Gaines, like the DIY couple. They turn every home into a farmhouse, have their own network. Shiplap, Mr. and Mrs. Shiplap, if you will. Well, they are developing 4 new unscripted shows for HBO Max. And I am really excited to talk about them.
Not for the Magnolia Network, not Home Renovation.
Not for Magnolia Network. No, these will be on Max. Because when you hear the description of the show, you'll get why this maybe isn't the most Magnolia Network,
fit the Magnolia Network
content. Yeah,
let's hear it.
The first 2 are kind of like whatever, but we're going to talk about them. The last 2, just get ready. Okay, so first we have Second Chance Stage, which gives contestants who kind of had to put their dreams on the back burner the chance to finally make them come true. Sweet, whatever. Another reality competition.
Your stand-up aspirations.
They've reached out, and I said, I want to be a punchline, not telling punchlines at this point. Yeah. Call me when you have a political episode for a legitimate third party.
Oh,
I'm trying to inject some common sense in this mad country of ours.
That's great. All right, Second Chance. All right.
Okay, Second Chance. The next one is Roller Jam, where the top roller skating crews in the country will compete to see who will be crowning America's best roller dancing team.
Can I pause you there?
Absolutely.
There's roller dancing teams in the country, much less top ones.
First of all, you need to. You don't have my TikTok algorithm, because there is a whole subculture of roller skate scene. It's a roller skate scene, man.
Why is that on your TikTok algorithm?
I'm telling you, I don't know how some cool old grandpa roller skating showed up one day, and I was like, oh, this is great. And I clicked it or whatever. And now all I see is roller skate dancing videos.
So it's old people. It's not like young people.
It's everything. It's Usher. It's young black culture. It's old dudes in Topeka. It's crazy. There's a whole roller skate dancing. They have crews. They practice. They have choreography. It's crazy. I love it.
Well, they're going to have the time of their life on Roller Jam.
Come on, Chip and Joe.
Are Chip and Joe going to compete?
Please. Maybe they're the judges.
But I do hope that, they demonstrate the dances before.
But the whole thing is about swag, and it's definitely like an urban thing. It doesn't fit Chip and Joe in my mind. But
hey,
okay.
roll bounce, baby. Roll bounce. Bow Wow and T.I., man. Black folks been skating for a minute, boy.
That's what I'm saying. I see it as more of a black scene, not a Chip and Joe scene. That's all I'm saying.
Does each episode open with Chip bursting through a sheet of drywall on roller skates?
It's
I
being
like
developed.
That would be awesome.
We can send them some notes.
Maybe they renovate roller rinks, because a lot of them need to be renovated.
I want them to do a crossover
Maybe they renovate
episode.
the roller rink, and then they have a competition to celebrate it.
A crossover episode where a roller dance crew renovates a house for a family in need. Who's not watching? Who's not watching? Or get the Property Brothers out there.
Okay, so these are 2. All right, what
those
are the
are the
other
2
ones?
probably more tame ones, I would argue. So
wait, you're putting roller skating in this is what we would have expected from Chip and Joe. Interesting. Okay.
I'm putting it just a little bit more tame. Okay, the next one, they're just funny premises. Okay, the next one is Back to the Frontier, where families will leave modern life behind to live like their 1800s pioneers. So reverse Amish in a way.
Seems more on brand. Maybe.
That does seem a little more
Yeah,
brand.
that seems on brand. A little home. It's about family, simplicity, connection, community. That's a Chip and Joe value. So I'm interested that you started out, you put roller jams as more Chip and Joe than the Homestead one. Okay.
I think because like roller dance teams are like already established. Like I'm curious, where are they finding these people who are wanting to give up their modern life to go live as Amish?
I'll do it. I'll do it. Sign me up.
Cameron, you are like so obsessed with technology.
Cap.
You have
That's what I
a
was gonna say.
terrarium
That is the
behind
most-
you, Cameron.
that is the most-
You have a terrarium.
Aquarium, first of all, but I live in
Aquarium.
Florida. I don't have iguanas. I have fish, first of all. And I had an electrical fire because of that aquarium on Saturday, by the way. I woke up to an electrical fire.
Oh, that's crazy.
I would give all this away. I would absolutely go to a homestead, simplicity.
For how long?
Connection.
Like a
family.
day?
I have no more bills. I'm
It
good.
would just
Let's
stink.
go.
That's my issue. The whole thing would stink.
It would
Have you ever been to Amish farm? I've been to Amish farm. It stinks. And they don't know how bad they stink either.
Wow.
I was gonna say apologies to the Amish community, but they're not gonna hear this.
They're
They're
not
not
going
going
to
to hear this at all. They
You
don't
can
even
give all
know
the
that
hot
I
takes about the
exist.
Amish you want. You go for it. They won't
Yeah,
ever
they're
hear it.
offended that there's a Latin guy here, there's a black guy
Oh
here.
my
They couldn't
God.
even handle this conversation first off, so they're not going to even know what's going to happen. You know, they don't know what's going to happen here, so we don't worry about it. But I had family who was Amish
And we put
Mennonite.
a woman on a mic. We elevated a woman.
Yeah, that's
to
another.
be- yeah,
you know,
yeah.
that's another bad. Yeah, right there with the devil horns you just did. Yeah. So I think that, and she's not wearing her Baptist shirt on today, so that's another issue that we have, to be completely frank. But I've been there. They cook really interesting. It's very bland. Their treats are delicious. The pies, but the whole place just smells, man. It's just stinky. It's a stinky place. Stinky ordeal. So do you really want that, Cam? Do you want the smelly and like, you know,
Hey,
your
man.
son's going to be like, Dad, this smells in here. And then like, it's going to be a whole thing.
I think a skunk can't smell its own scent. I think they don't smell themselves. And so then you're just
After a
living
week,
your normal
they
life.
don't. Yeah, they don't.
Living
It's just
your
the
normal
first week you have to deal with.
It's all good. All right, what's the last show that they're doing for
Okay,
Max?
I can't wait to tell you about this. It is called Human versus Hamster, where real life humans will compete against hamsters in quote scaled games of strength, smarts, and agility to find out the superior species.
I love this.
Can I just say, the HBO brand has really shifted. Like,
They have.
This is Max.
They've gone
This
a long way
ain't
from
HBO.
They've gone from
Sopranos, Jesse.
Succession
From
to
Oz.
The Wire, like
The Wire,
So-
Oz,
Sopranos, Oz, yeah.
Sister
they've gone
Wives.
from the peak of prestige television, like the world's best
Hamster
creators, to human
competitions.
versus hamsters. That
which
I'm
arguably is
sure
the peak
Chip,
of reality TV
I'm sure
competition.
Chip Gaines cooked up on the way to a meeting when he realized he was supposed to come with some ideas and forgot. Like
He was like,
that's what this feels like.
I like to roller skate. Hey, let's do a roller skate show.
Yeah. He's like,
Hey,
no
my
one really
kid
roller
has a
skates anymore, do
hamster.
they?
You know, it'd be crazy if humans were in a ball like a hamster is.
He's like, I could beat my hamster. I could do this. You know what? You know? That's how it started.
Definitely was winging the pitch. Yeah.
I just can't figure out on that one where the idea originated. Was it Chip and Joe, or was it Max suggesting it to Chip and Joe? I don't know who came up with the idea of humans competing against hamsters, but I love it.
I
and
wonder
wanna
if
see
they
it.
started
So-
off like human
You love
versus
it?
some other animal.
I think it's so ridiculous.
I'll
I will
watch
watch
it.
this.
I'll watch anything,
Dude,
bro.
I watch The Floor is Lava. It's the same thing. It's just
Yeah,
stupid
I'll watch
human.
the UK Love
you
Island.
do not insult Flora's Lava like that.
it's so good, Marty.
Do not
I'll watch Love
insult
Island.
Flora's Lava like that.
Show respect to its name, please.
I'll
Show
watch
respect.
Carlton from Fresh Prince host. I'll watch him host. Just kidding.
Well, yeah, I do want
I'll
to
watch
know.
Nick Cannon host another show.
It's not sure if like Chip and Joe are going to host all these shows or if they're just like producers. I'm trying to think who would be the ideal host for Human versus Hamster.
It's Nick Cannon always. What are you talking about? Steve Harvey giving motivational speeches between the hamster and the human.
He's motivating the hamster.
It's like when I was young, I didn't have a mustache.
You know,
Yeah.
honestly, I would watch Nate Bargatze all day long hosting Human versus
That would be
Hamster.
great.
Yeah.
That would be great.
He would have the most
He would be
droll
really
takes.
funny.
Yeah, it'd be really funny.
He would be awesome.
Okay, now the real question of these four games or reality competitions, which one are you guys going to sign up for?
Okay, so we got the Homestead one,
None
Roller
of them.
Jam, Human versus Hamster, and
Second chance.
Second
Challenge.
Chance.
Amish, right?
Second
Or
Chance.
Second Chance?
Yeah.
The Homestead one, yeah, was first.
I'm
So,
definitely going hamster.
yeah, no question.
You know, I feel like least likely for humiliation would be.
Well, here's
would
the
be
thing.
going
What
Amish.
if you lose to a hamster? Like, how do you recover from that?
Now we know. Now we
Yeah,
know.
but now
Your
science.
and the rest of your life,
It's a
you walk in
limitation.
humility.
Science doesn't lie.
You walk in humility because you never think you're better than a hamster. You know, you just like, it's a humbling thing. God can use it in your life. Go for it.
Yeah, someone's got to find out who's better at different things. Why not one of us? Like, it's fine. You know, you win some, you lose some. If I get stranded out in Amish country, I'm never going to hear the end of it. You know, like if I have to tap out.
I want to do the Amish country because I just feel like they'll end up either burning me like a witch,
Right.
or I'll end up corrupting everybody there and then making it like, hey, we're back now. You can show your ankles off now. You know, you could use salt. Have you guys ever tasted salt before? I can tell people the weather on my magic device. You know what I'm saying? You know where I'm going with this. You know what I'm saying? You know where I'm taking this. Hey guys, I have magic in my hands. You want to know what the weather is tomorrow?
He's holding up his phone, listener. He's holding up his phone. Yeah.
I'm holding up my phone right now. It's a meeting. You know, I'm just gonna, and then I could check them on all the BS that they have to spew to me. They're like, well, this is how the old towny guy did it. And I'm like, wait a second, I got a better way on TikTok.
I like it. So you're going to go on that show to disrupt it. Okay, got it. Derek,
Disruptor, yeah.
Derek, are you doing Roller Jam? No, I would pay money to see you on Roller Jam.
No, I'm not doing Roller Jam.
T.I. and Derek are going to host it.
Yeah.
The Roller Jam.
Usher and Derek.
I'll host it. I'll host it for sure.
Usher and Derek are going to host it.
You won't
You can
catch me
judge.
with no roller skates on.
But in order to host, you have to beat.
I feel like you could. Did you ever do that when you were younger, Derek?
Bro, it was terrible. So, yeah.
I do 4th grade, 5th grade.
I got bad memories.
Throughout the summer. There would be one day every week. My mom would just like drop me off at the roller rink, and you just hang out with your buddies. And I just remember there was there was a time, I think it was 4th grade, and there was a girl I had a crush on. She was with her friends going around, and I wanted to kind of impress her. And Eye of the Tiger came on, and it's like, come on, dun 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 dun.
Wow, yeah.
You got to speed up. You got to show your swag on that one.
Yeah, like get like low to the ground,
Dude,
right?
I went like tried to zoom past her. Got wobbly, smashed into the wall. She laughed her butt off. I never went back. I was like, that's it. My roller skating career is over. My crush laughed at me.
I had a buddy who became a floor guard for a job. You know, the referee that skates around the rink.
Oh, yeah.
And I went to go pick him up from work one time, and he had like 10 minutes left on his shift, and I was like, my dude has stumbled on the greatest job of all time. Like, he was getting nothing but respect out there. He's the one referee that gets ultimate respect. And you spend your entire day just zooming around that rink, learning. His moves were insane by the end of that summer job because
You should tell him about Roller Jam.
I should. He was a legit floor guard at a roller rink, and
He probably was so good spinning around like, hey, too close to each other.
honestly, it's a top
Right through them.
5. If money wasn't an object, it's a top 5 job. I'd name 5 better jobs than roller rink floor guard. You won't.
What if you combine the Amish show with the roller skating show? But like the roller skating show is in Atlanta.
I love
It's in
it.
Atlanta though. And so they
love
have
it.
to go to Atlanta, and he's like seven like white people
Look,
have to watch these people in Atlanta. That's a show I want to watch.
And then there's hamsters also on roller skates.
I want to see a reality
on those-
show. I want to see a reality
Combine
show
'em.
where it's like the world's coolest roller rink, and it's like a reality show about the floor guards. Like, you know how they have, you'll see a reality show every once in a while, like game wardens or lifeguards or whatever, you know? Mm-hmm. This is a reality show, but the real
Are you referring
lives
to Baywatch? That's not a reality show.
I was getting more
about
like a below
lifeguards.
deck vibe.
Yeah,
Oh,
exactly.
got it. Yeah,
It won't-
I dig it heavy. I mean, imagine a really big one though. Like we're talking like the circle and that French, like that roundabout in France.
These
that's
are
like
the
super
stories
big.
of the people who keep this thing running.
7 guys.
You're talking about roller skating
They have
around
their
the
own
Arc de,
personal lives
the
in
Arc de
between.
Triomphe in Paris.
Yes,
roller
right
skating?
there. We're
Okay.
gonna start.
Yeah.
We're gonna start the episode there. That's what's gonna happen. And there's 7 guys there who have like heartbreaking, redemption stories.
This
And
is their
they're
second
sharing it while
chance.
helping.
Yeah.
They had big roller skating aspirations, and
This
life
is a
happened,
huge
and now this is
crossover
their
episode.
second
Some were
chance.
hockey players, street hockey players.
It's a
Combine
top
them all.
5 job. That needs to be the question of the week. Name 5 better jobs than floor guard at a roller at a hype
Good
roller.
luck.
We have another question of the week option coming up because of another
That's a good one.
a buzz item, but that's a good backup.
Always
All
on
right.
brand, Jesse.
All right,
Always on
Emily,
brand.
what else do we have for buzz?
Yeah, I want to talk about some comments Elon Musk made recently. He was speaking at a summit about AI, of course, and Musk said that he envisions a future where AI will make jobs just unnecessary.
All jobs.
All jobs. Yeah, he said
Oh,
it's hard to say
okay.
exactly what that moment is, but there will come a point where no job is needed. You can have a job if you wanted to have a job for personal satisfaction, but the AI would be able to do everything.
Let me tell y'all, so, because we've had conversations about this. I'll bring you up to speed, and then I want to hear what you have to say. So
they really gonna love communism. He wants to make the
well, he's
or
context is
socialism
he was
because the government gonna have to take care of everybody if we ain't working.
well he was at the AI summit because X is launching their own AI ChatGPT competitor. So he's been in this world, so he's been thinking a lot about it. Anyway, that's context. But when he said all jobs will be replaced by AI, I'm sitting there thinking, how can AI build a house? How can AI be a nurse? How can
a
AI
hype roller rink?
How can AI guard a roller rink? Exactly that kind of stuff. So it's a little hyperbole. I get, he was just making a point. So let's back it up to something more realistic, that all office jobs might be replaced by AI, not manual labor jobs. Okay. And some manual labor, robotics and stuff could replace it, but let's go to office jobs as it relates to what we do. We make media. AI can't create human interviews and human content. So yes, I know that there's fake versions of it, but I'm talking about real human content, like what we're doing right now with
personalities,
the podcast. Things like that. So let's set that aside and let's just go with as it relates to what we do at Relevant. Can AI plan and write articles? Yes. Can AI one day design websites and apps? Yes. Can AI strategize and execute a social media strategy? Yes. Can AI do sales? Yes. I could see a future where AI vastly disrupts most industries. So then here's what was interesting to us is what he said was the future won't be about you need to work to make money or whatever, but what humanity will struggle with is a purpose for life. Because so many people find their purpose in their vocation. And if I don't have to have a vocation, or I could use AI for my vocation, I don't actually do it myself, I just guide it. What's my purpose? And that is interesting to me, is that
if only we had some sort of book that would tell us about deeper purpose and mission in life and how to spend your hours on this earth doing something that will fulfill you both
we only had a movie called The Omega
temporarily
Code
and eternally. I don't know. I agree with you, Lon. We're lost without some sort of.
But think about this. This is the reality. I wouldn't even say 20 or 50 years from now. Like ChatGPT came out a year ago, and Emily and I use it every day. It has expanded our impact, our capability as a team, and will continue to do so as applications continue to be developed rapidly. This could be a reality this decade of not only entire economies being turned upside down, but now people saying if I can't have that job, that job isn't needed. What do I do with my life? Why am I here on this earth? That's interesting to me.
Andy Minio sent me a video last week. Someone made a AI video of him. Well, because I need you guys to know when I tell you this next fact. Okay. Someone made an AI video about his net worth, right? In the video, there's pictures of him. Then it goes, the first comment is, he's 6'3". They got that wrong. The second thing is they have an Asian guy in a construction helmet. For some reason, the AI must have thought that was him. So it's like Andy Mineo has a net worth, and then you see an Asian guy in a construction hat, smiling. And then he's he's 6'3". All the details were off. It was, right. And the guy apparently, Andy tracked it down, and the guy was making $5,000 a month making these AI bio videos for people because they were all being, monetized and stuff like that. But all the information is completely gone and off. So I think we need humans to be that's not cool, or that is cool, that works. There still needs a human touch to kind of what Derek is saying too, that
I
nuance
think
part.
Even if people are willing to pay more for a human experience versus an automated one, for whether it could be a service, it could be, I could see a future where you're getting a medical diagnosis through AI, or it's making your food or whatever. There'll always be a market for human craftsmanship. You know what I mean? So I just don't think it's going to take over everything. I think there will be a time where people will just pay more to have not a machine crank something out.
I think you're right on that. But that's, again, going to be a choice. So what I think his point was that there will be no jobs that can't be done by AI, and humans will choose to work, but they don't have to work. And so it's what's that going to do to humanity, to economies, things like that? As a straight employment situation, Emily and I were talking about just Relevant's been around 23 years now. So it's the way we had to staff for the first decade or 15 years, you know, like we had to pay staffers to transcribe interviews. I had to pay some college kid to transcribe interviews. And then it's like, oh, there's transcription services. So I can offload that. I can outsource that. And now AI can transcribe that interview perfectly for free. And so it's like, I don't have to pay an outsourced company and I don't have to pay an employee. AI can do it for free. And so for us, like, will it replace every human that I want to? No, I want to have a core team, but our core team is going to be using and guiding the AI. But the AI, like I would if I was a creative director, I would give direction to a designer on our staff. Hey, here's what we want to do. Here's the style. Here's what we want to, whatever. And then he would do a version. I would give feedback to it. Well, I can use AI for in the exact same way, articles, all of it. So what we were talking about is before, if I had to have a staff of 35 or 50 people to execute X amount of output, in the future, I could have a staff of 4 people doing the same output as 50. And that's fundamental. And that's true because those 4 people need to have the curation, the taste, the guidance of the AI, but I don't have to have employing junior designers, employing customer service, employing all these other people. That's going to be disruptive.
Right now in the creative world, right? That's where it's thriving.
Yeah, the creative world for sure. But think about accounting firms. Think about other things where it's just like auditing calculations firms, and numbers. Auditing and things like that. Like, why would you need to employ 5,000 people at your national accounting firm when that could all be done by AI 5 years from now? I mean, I think it's going to be hugely disruptive.
The part where it's like in thinking about like finding meaning in life is interesting because it's like, I got into journalism because I like writing and I like editing. And so the fact that AI can do that for me, while it is good, it is like, okay, well, that's like something like if I'm still passionate about writing, where can I go? Obviously, I'm not relevant. So, but like, again, like someone else, like where do they go to pursue that passion and like be paid for that passion? And it's like, this is making it sound like.
And be paid for that passion. That's going to be key.
Because now it seems like they're not going to be able to be paid for it. It might be something they do on the side just because they enjoy it, but they have to now do a job that they don't feel passionate about and they don't like because they have to pay bills.
But there are, I think especially in examples in the creative fields and things like writing, there are some things that I think AI is great at being like informational, but like one example, I can't remember, it was some tech podcast about AI and they were talking about, and it was just a microcosm of the AI blind spot is humor. They were trying to get AI like ChatGPT and those things to tell it jokes. It doesn't understand doesn't understand what makes something funny. And there's no way, it's sort of like this problem. Like humor, doesn't even translate across cultures, much less, you know what I mean? Like much less there's some single recipe you can type in to make a robot funny. There'll always be this nuance where only humans can understand something that is so rooted in the human condition, whether it's humor is just an example. Like you could say, write a scary story, but it doesn't understand human fear like a human does. You know what I mean? Like there's a certain degree of humanity that's hard to replace.
Cameron, you brought up before how like back in the 50s, whatever, when the invention of the calculator, like that kind of disrupted a lot of like mathematicians. But I think
mathematics,
I think the difference between that is whether you do math by hand or by a calculator, 2 + 2 will always equal 4. With writing, if you tell me to write a scary story and you tell AI to write a scary story, we're going to come up with 2 wildly different things.
Yeah.
And I think that's where, like, when it comes to creativity, that's where AI can do it, but it's going to be a quality. I think the quality of what AI can do is going to be different.
I agree with everything y'all are saying. And I think we're talking in the current. We have to remember that it's only going to get better
in 5 years,
from here and rapidly. And so, like, for example, a year ago when ChatGPT came out, we would ask it, just testing its limits, to pitch article ideas for relevantmagazine.com. And it would pitch very generic faith and culture type ideas. And it was like, okay, none of this is usable because of what y'all are saying. Like, this doesn't have the nuance. This doesn't have the edge, the angle. Okay. Now, just literally last week, Emily on a lark was wanting to come up with a listicle idea. We need a little humor piece and we want to do like church nostalgia, whatever. And the way we're using it's progressed, ChatGPT 4 now, which is live on the internet and everything. I literally asked it the other day for social media strategies, some sales strategies, different things like that. And because it's live and it can find best practices and all this stuff, it gave some great, like almost like a consultant type stuff, some great strategy stuff. And I'm like, heck yeah, shared it with the team. We can use this. She asked it for pitch me articles, like funny church nostalgia listicle ideas for relevantmagazine.com. She said 10 came back, 9 were terrible. But one of them was from PUSH to FROG, deciphering the 2000s youth group apparel acronym, blah, 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 and it was like all those Christian t-shirts from that, those youth group t-shirts that said like frog or whatever, like what the heck. And it pitched this. And then here's the idea. So then she was able to then ask it follow-up questions like you would if you were pitching at an editorial meeting. Okay, well, flesh that out. Like what would be some examples of that? And it wrote out all these things that had the nuance, the inside jokes, whatever. Now she then re-edited it and added her voice and stuff. But it did all the heavy lifting and came up with the humor. And it was like, that's really good. We didn't come up with that. And if you look at our website, that article is live and exists. We published it 2 days ago. AI came up with the idea for that article. So it's getting better with the nuance and the tone stuff as it progresses. It's progressing so fast. All right. So Elon Musk says one day AI will replace every job and humanity will have to figure out another path toward finding purpose. So church leaders, this is an opportunity. All right.
Here's your time to shine.
What's the last thing, Emily?
Last thing, the head of Netflix's film sector, Scott Stuber, said in an interview this week that they are very ready to get started on Greta Gerwig's film adaptation of Narnia. And they're actually planning, obviously actor strike pending, on starting her adaptations next year, which is great news for me because this is kind of the most exciting thing in my life right now. So I really need it to be here very soon.
Things are looking up.
Emily is hilarious. She's like, this is all that matters until Taylor Swift, and then it'll be that. And then Rodrigo.
I think about this more than I think about Taylor Swift. Like this.
Oh
week.
my goodness!
Wait, Greta Gerwig doing Chronicles of Narnia is now your new obsession?
Oh,
this is your Roman Empire?
Capital E Roman Empire. Like it is.
She has a blank check from Hollywood right now. Good for her. She's earned it. And I think it's so fascinating that after blockbuster acclaim, her next project is Chronicles of Narnia. That says something, first of all.
Yeah, she recognizes
Where's she
going to
go with it? Because all I think of when I think of Chronicles of Narnia, I think of the Walden Media CGI version from the 2000s.
Yeah, and let's be careful how we speak about those because those were very formative to a certain person on this podcast. So
now, okay, I'm excited about this. We're going to hear a lot about it in the coming years. Emily,
from me,
this is what I want to talk about.
Yes,
your love for Taylor Swift is well established. I understand your like taste when it comes to filmmaking. I can see why Greta Gerwig's right in the wheelhouse. How deep does the Narnia thing go? Because it sounds like this is deeper than we probably imagine here.
I had a Narnia tattoo before I had a Taylor Swift tattoo.
Relax.
Okay.
You have an actual Narnia tattoo?
I didn't know you had a Taylor Swift tattoo either.
Is
it like a likeness of her face or is it like a lyric?
It's like a lyric.
Because if you had a portrait of like
no, I do not have a portrait of Taylor Swift. No, it's like
Taylor
representative of a
Swift.
lyric.
And they like pause? Or are they like the pause?
No.
Aslan pause?
No, I have.
It's shoulder to shoulder. It's a huge lion mane. Yeah.
I actually have a lion, a witch, and a wardrobe on my back. Yeah. No, it's a little
lower back tat with Taylor Swift face on it.
Yeah, that's what it is.
Stamp of Taylor Swift's face.
Not yet, probably not ever. No, I have loved Narnia since I was like a child.
Why did you say probably not ever about getting a Taylor Swift face tramp stamp? Why did you say probably?
I mean, never say never.
Can we just say
we'll see
never?
What the future holds. There's no. Let's just not rule anything out.
She said never say never. Vegas is open 24/7. Vegas is open 24/7.
I don't know where I'm gonna go in life.
We never know what's gonna happen.
I just don't want to say never, and then I can't think of a scenario. But if there were ever a scenario where I had to get one, I wouldn't be able to say like, I knew this was a
I made a
possibility.
vow one day on a podcast that this would never happen. So
Yeah.
All right. Well, that'll do it for
Relevant Buzz.
Stay tuned. Up next, Cold War Kids joins us. You're listening to Toledo. The song is Jesus Bathroom. Well, today's podcast is brought to you in part by Odyssey Impact. Are you a faith leader interested in social justice? Join Odyssey Impact's national social impact campaigns to download free resources and be a catalyst for change. They offer award-winning films and custom-created resources to help you plan impactful events focused on racial justice, community healing, reconciliation, and more. By raising awareness, shifting attitudes, and inspiring action, they're driving meaningful campaigns that make a real difference. Host an event in your community or house of worship. Learn more at odyssey-impact.org. Again, that's odyssey-impact.org. Well, our guest today is Cold War Kids. We've been fans of the iconic indie rock band since their breakout debut album 17 years ago. Crazy. We spoke with frontman Nathan Willett about the band's brand new, self-titled 10th album and how the music industry is changing, he says, for the better. Here's our conversation with Nathan Willett from Cold War Kids.
So this is Cold War Kids' 10th album, which is crazy to say, but you said this was probably the most vulnerable you've ever been on a project. Were you sort of nervous to put this out there?
In a way, yes. I think it's anytime you put out as much music as we have, that you kind of run the risk of people not having context for your story and knowing how to contextualize like this piece of music and what this means to the artist, and that's why it has a certain emotion or power. I feel like pop is really good at that. You have to know what that person is going on in their life in order to hear this new song through that lens. But like for where we come from, I guess, I certainly haven't done that. Tried to really share my personal life and connect it to the music, because that hasn't really been the most interesting thing to me. So to do that 10 albums in is kind of like it's like, in a way it's funny because I don't know that it's hard for me to know if people will sort of even notice or care, and that is kind of what I think made me want to do it, is that like, any artist, I think you get this far in, I think you lose the connection. Like, who are my fans? I don't think they're the same people that, they're definitely not the same people they were 15 plus years ago, and you have to kind of think less about who those people are and more just about, for me, who I am. And like, the old songs are always there. We're always going to go play them. That is always sort of like we're in ways, very fortunately, a built-in part of, we can go on tour and play that catalog. But to try at this point in the game to do something that feels vulnerable and risky, in a way, it's not like risky in the sense of like, oh my God, if this bombs, it's over for us, but I almost kind of wish it was that way. I wish, but it, I guess the whole culture around music has changed so much, like stuff like reviews and stuff like a critical lens, and sort of drilling into the meaning and message and artist. It's very different, and I don't think we're like, I don't think we sort of are put through a microscope in that way. So all that being said, like I guess I know that our fan, like the sort of like the hardcore fans will really dig in and really like this and really like that I've already seen that, you know, and like I love that. And then what it means like beyond that, I don't know. So, you know, yeah. So to answer your question, like I it does make me like a little uncomfortable, but I also like maybe if it was our third album, I would feel like more nervous about that. But you know, yeah, I should have done it then probably as well.
The music industry has changed a lot since you first started. What would you say is the biggest change you've noticed?
I think right now we are, I think part of this type of like 90s nostalgia, like interest, I think that especially like younger people that I would classify, like anybody like under 35, I feel like super generalization that there's like less cynicism, like less cynicism over like there was just such a rigid type of like holier than thou, like nothing is cool, like type of sense, whereas now I feel like there's such a more kind of like optimistic of like oh, I don't like that, but if that's for you, that's cool, you know, like if you like something like the same type of like criteria for what might be like really legitimate versus really like cheesy, those lines are so much more blurred, and I feel like they were so rigid kind of when we came up, and we were always like this almost sense of like being so nervous about being too silly or too, I don't know, I don't know, but I also think it just kind of probably goes in cycles a lot too. I think it goes from like from being like very reverent to irreverent. Like I think there was a time where like the older, the whatever, like whether it's like Bruce Springsteen and Tom Petty to whoever, like that there was a time that like the young pop star or the old rock star or whoever was just like they're lame because they're not making the art that moves the kids almost, and now I feel like that is so different. Like the legacy artists or the big pop artists, and then the indie artists and whoever, like it's just sort of like do whatever you want. It's not either or, you know.
Back when I was crying on your shoulder, 'cause I had to hide my face. I was mixed up, tripped out, all in my head, and I wanted to erase it. I needed your voice.
I never thought about it, but I totally see it now that you've said it. Do you think shifting away from cynicism is a good thing, or do you feel like we should be more critical with music?
Artists are funny. We can really like hide in our influences and in our like references and like oh, this new record is, you know, throw out 10 names of incredible records. This is like the Velvet Underground and the Talking Heads and the da da da. And they're like, whoa, cool. You really like know your stuff, but it's like, don't care about that. And like, I feel like in general, people are, again, my old guy view is that I'm like, I feel like a younger person is just like, oh, I don't care. That doesn't mean what it means to you. Like, and I've seen, you know, how a lot of our peers have done it. I feel like we've probably tried to do that too, of like, you know, you're in the studio or you're doing a conversation like this, or you're like, and you're like, we are like this previously existing, you know, work of art that has all this meaning and culture around it. And like, yeah, that's not like, I like bristle at that. I don't like that, and I feel like it's complicated because everything artists are very inspired by previous work and all that, and I don't think anything comes out of nowhere. But I think that sort of being irreverent about what you pull from and not needing to know all the stories behind it and all the history and all the gear, all the people, everything, like just kind of there has to be with music a sense of like, is it good? Does it move you or not? And that is so intangible and so hard and it's so subjective that the artist doesn't really know, and that like, especially I feel like the most sort of celebrated legacy artists like have had a lot of albums to sort through what it is that they do well. And you just can't talk about like Bruce Springsteen and be like, oh, I like these few songs, but it took him like 1,000 before that, 1,000 songs to get to those few songs, and that's great. It's totally fine if you only like his one song, and like, whereas I feel like our generation is more, it's just all or nothing. Like, you can't do that. You can't just sort of like grab that one song you like. It doesn't, you're not paying attention to all the history and all the stuff. I mean, generally I think it's really good. I think you have to kind of knock down the whole seriousness and studiousness of music in order to kind of get to something new.
That's so interesting. I want to go back and like look for that in music moving forward.
Yeah, I mean, again, like, and I think it's funny. Again, I was just having this conversation. How this person was saying how like the time we came out, like early 2000s, 2010, like it was just a very like, when I think of the pitchfork kind of like Vampire Weekend and Dirty Projectors and TV on the radio, I'm trying to think of like such a very like East Coast, very, very pretentious, very like kind of at times Ivy League-y, like the references were like, there's this 60s African guitar player mixed with this and you like, I felt very outside of that, so I was always kind of critical of that and just how sort of how into itself it was. There's no easy way to say this, but like spiritually, spiritually, it didn't ascend to something higher. It felt like very much the sum of its influences were sort of the product, and like that doesn't do anything for me. And I don't think it has, and I think that's probably why it hasn't aged as well as something that sort of, and I say spiritually in a very like, hopefully the most abstract way, something that is inspiring in a intangible, bigger sense. And just that time and those artists, and I think what they valued was they wanted to be the smartest people in the room, not necessarily the ones that evoking the most emotion.
Was Cold War Kids. Make sure to check out their brand new self-titled album. It's out now. It's great. Go check it out. All right, stay tuned. Up next, it's your feedback.
He love me the same way I love him. Ain't no such thing as that overcome me. Yeah, my soul locked in, got me right out of my shell like a chick. Yeah, and I knew once I had, wasn't no going back. I'm thankful for your blessings and for your direction. Can I give you praise, hold you in my reverence? I don't wanna move, give me your presence. I don't wanna move. Ooh, you deserve it all.
You're listening to Tillin. The song is Return It All. Okay, it's time for your feedback. Last week we got talking at the end of the show. If you didn't hear it, go back 2 episodes and listen to this. It was really funny. It was at the end of the show. Jesse got talking about his ideas for why can't just the government do some common sense stuff? It started because of daylight savings time. This is stupid. So can we fix that? Can we gather political momentum around fixing daylight savings time. And then he said, while we're at it, can we also fix hot dogs? Can we also fix some other stuff? So then it got us thinking, what are the other things that should be on Jesse's Common Sense Party platform? You hit us up on X at Relevant Podcast. You hit us up on the other platforms at Relevant Magazine. Here's some of our favorite suggestions.
I was going to say, before we get to the actual
There's a lot
issues, I do just want to talk about how there is already some fighting within the Common Sense Party that I think is very funny. I think I included...
I will settle this.
I included 2 examples of it, but there
But I need
was
a leader.
someone like put out an idea that the Common Sense Party should run on, and within minutes there was a response of, you will get 0 support from Jesse on this issue. Like, people are just already pushing back.
Should we just start there?
But we need like a common sense, like meaning, like a starting point that everyone could, because common sense to me is different from some of these people. So,
yeah. But I just thought it was hilarious.
Jesse, we need leader Jesse. Please give us some insight. Where's the bar? Where's the standard of common sense? Where does it start?
I've covered this as nauseum. Prosecute shopping cart non-returners. Enough is enough. Again, I don't support it for the whole AI conversation. We need human jobs out there. Okay, this is another way people can be employed, by wrangling up carts. If an individual grocery store wants to impose penalties, I'm not gonna stop them. But no,
the future holds. There's going to be little robots roaming the parking lots.
Basically, already have those at Target.
That's what I'm saying. The future of shopping cart wranglers being a job, that's already on the way out. So. Sorry, man.
I saw several variations of this, but like the amount of chips in a bag versus air, or the amount of cereal in boxes versus bag. It's all over the board.
I can tell which one's Republican, which one's Democrat, basically based on how they frame the question.
None of them are Republican or Democrat. They're common sense. It's a new party.
I can tell which party they left. I can tell which party they left.
It transcends partisanship, and obviously, there needs to be a global standard for cereal in the cereal box versus cereal bag, or chips in a bag versus air. This is common sense. That's when I go in. That's executive order day one. I will bring out. I will have some Doritos. I'll pour them out, and I'll do a demonstration for the American people. And we're gonna get this settled day one. And
one of the things I read about when inflation was going crazy on food prices over the last few years, like I read about like some of the tricks that some of the food companies do to actually do inflation without you realizing it, and they don't raise the price; they just give you less. Mm-hmm. So when you go there, you're still paying $3 for this thing, but you got less in the package, and it's shrinkage inflation is what they call it, shrinkage. So
my mom brought up a great point. She said when we were kids, the Whopper, she'd have to cut it in half. She couldn't eat the whole thing, and now it's like it's tiny. You know what I'm saying?
It's not a Whopper.
It's not a Whopper at all.
Anyway, let's read some of the listeners' replies.
I like Smitty's. He said, I really think it's time we discuss airplane deboarding etiquette. If the federal government can intervene on what liquids I can or can't have on a plane, can't they also keep Eric in 49E from running to the front once we land? This is a massive pet peeve for me, so I agree this should be on the ticket.
For me too.
I love the etiquette. And now this new generation doesn't get it.
They don't. It's every man for himself. There's going to be a standard of how we do things, and it's in a specific order. And if you cut, you will be fined heavily, and you will be immediately placed on a no-fly list for the rest of your life.
That. I love that what's happening right now. This is
Iron Fist enforcement.
Jesse isn't reading the suggestions from the listeners. He's giving his official party platform feedback.
No, I need like patriotic music in the background for that.
Yes, definitely. Yeah. So Adam Davis says there's too many streaming services. They need to go back to just a few because they're making cutting the cord pointless. So in other words, he's saying bring back cable.
There'll be a forced merger, and it will be and Chip and Joe will run all platforms. It's decided.
Wow,
they've demonstrated that they're ideas people, and that's what this country needs. What's next?
Yes, I love it.
I think Stephen Hay might be running for VP because he submitted like 7 different options. Yeah. So he's hoping to be your running mate.
I wasn't planning on needing a VP, but let's hear him.
Well, first off, I do want to put his Twitter handle is get to the Choppa 117.
Hold on, Emily. That's another thing. Common sense. The VP does nothing. Okay, you don't need a vice president. You need one president. What is the? No one even knows what the vice president.
He's just
does.
there's a backup in case the
That's
the
what
one
happens
drops.
now, isn't it?
So look,
Yeah.
Emily, I'm glad you said his name because when I read it, I thought it said "Get the Chopper." I was like, "Oh, this boy is
Yeah, it's
violent,
different,
bro."
much different.
Get to the chopper.
Get to the chopper and get the
I was gonna
chopper.
say most of these are from one person.
Yeah.
Like he was really invested in this
Yeah.
thing. That's what I was gonna say.
He's
One
running.
person was heavily invested.
He's a whole
Let's hear
page in our feedback
A whole
document.
page is just him,
It's
Steven.
just Stephen A.
I think my favorite one, he put all potluck dishes should have labels with who made the dish. Some kitchens shouldn't be eaten
That's a
from.
good one.
It's just
Ooh, that
common
is
sense.
good.
Oh my god, that's a great
like
point
it.
right there. That's
Like,
a good
I don't
one.
trust her. I'm not trying that.
Yeah.
Stupid.
Yeah.
And,
Like,
and it solves the dispute of who kept the lid or my Tupperware didn't make it back.
That's
mandatory
right.
labels at any sort of.
I
shared
like how
food
you're
gathering.
adding on it, Jesse. Like
Yeah,
you're already
mandatory
building.
labels.
That's why I deserve the vote.
Jeff 2708 says, "Make the ceremonial first pitch of a baseball game the actual first pitch of the baseball
I've
game."
long
That's a
advocated
Jesse
for
Carey
that.
idea.
I've long advocated.
Wow. At this point, I mean,
Make it count.
Yeah, I'd love to see, Shohei Ohtani like take Jimmy Carter yard first pitch.
Jimmy Carter gets just boom.
Just knock one out of the park. Just
I don't want to see Ja Rule throw the first pitch and
knocks a Ja Rule meatball up
If
into
it
the upper
happens on the
deck.
field, it counts. That's all we're
That's
saying.
right.
Yeah.
There's no
it doesn't.
ceremonial
they
anything.
lose the game because of that. Like that's where that's where it's gonna head. They're gonna lose. It's gonna be a mess.
Yeah.
Jake Odening says, I'd vote for Jesse Carey in a heartbeat. So, got it.
Good.
You got my
Good.
vote,
that's
bro.
That's what I'd like to hear.
I was also thinking about
We
the
can-
slogan. I think it should be like, now we're cooking. Because I just feel like that's a
Now we're cooking. Cooking with gas. That should be it.
cooking with gas.
Cooking with
It's
gas.
just like one of my favorite phrases, but I also think
Now
it's
we're
like
cooking.
everyone
Now
hears
we're cooking.
hears the ideas and they're like, okay, now we're cooking. Like, let's
Yeah,
go.
I like that. I like that. Now we're cooking for sure.
I'm the social
That's
media manager.
That to me is in front of like the square that he speaks in front of. It's like Jesse. Now we're cooking.
If
like
I
in
get
big
invited
letters.
to a debate, I will disregard the the mediator's question and just read from this list to the answer to any question.
Love it. Jesse, I have a question. Ryan Hinkle calls you out. Not calls you out, but he says, I'd imagine Jesse will give major pushback to this. But it's high time we all commit to the metric system. Here's, I mean, you saw the
Where
Nate
do you
Bargatze
stand on the
episode of
metric
SNL.
system?
There's a whole George Washington sketch about how ridiculous our, America
I
is.
did. It was a great
What do you
sketch.
think about the idea of standardized measurements and weights?
I think for the most part, I'm a pacifist as part of my platform. I think this is a platform that will bring in global peace. But the United States will do whatever we can, take whatever measure necessary to bring people to our system because that's how we do things. Okay,
That's right.
Common sense starts with global enforcement of the of the American system of everything. I'm sorry, but we have to set a standard here, people. I'm too committed to know.
So you're America
we don't
first.
got time.
Oh my
I'm
God.
too committed to relearn.
That's a
now we're cooking.
How about this? The national and global system of weights and measurements. We're going to give the Olympics stakes. Whoever wins the Olympics every year is the country that gets to decide the global system of weights and measures.
Oh wow.
England, you want to keep yours? Guess what? You got to beat us at the
Show
Olympics.
up.
The Olympics are actually going to mean something because who's not watching the Olympics if measurement systems are at play
Are at
every 4
stake.
years? I think it's
Love
a great
it.
solution.
Love it.
And I just fixed the Olympic viewership.
All right.
They
Well,
can count for something.
there's a lot more where that came from. There's a lot of ideas. You guys can keep adding to the platform planks if you want to. Go check out our replies on social. That was great. Okay, it's time for this week's.
Editorial question of the week. Hey.
Well, earlier in the show, we told you about Chip and Joe getting a production development deals outside of their milieu of home renovations. They're going to hamster racing. They're going to roller jams. We want your ideas for other non-scripted shows that we should send over to Chip and Joe to suggest for them for their new Max development deal. So hit us up with your ideas. They're doing roller jams and hamster races. They're open to all ideas is what we're saying. So maybe we can get yours greenlit. Hit us up on X at Relevant Podcast and on all the other platforms at Relevant or Relevant Magazine. And we'll read our favorites on next week's show.
Yeah, it's obviously we will be sending them to Chip and Joe will be listening, and as will executives at all the major streaming platforms. So bring your A game, and you will not be compensated. Thanks.
And you will not be compensated. Thanks.
I'm gonna be honest with you. Every time you say Chippin', I keep thinking you say Chip and Dale, like the old. That's my mind goes to like Disney. So every time you're about to, I'm getting.
Yeah,
it is. It is.
Well, before we wrap things up, I want to thank Nathan Willett from Cold War Kids for joining us today. Make sure to check out their brand new self-titled album. It is out now, just came out. You'll enjoy it. Also, head over to relevantmagazine.com. If you haven't checked out our most recent digital issue, we have so many incredible conversations. Drew Holcomb, Andy Grammer, Christine Kane, Judah and Chelsea Smith, so much more. You don't want to miss it. It's right there. Just click on the magazine tab. It's available for free. If you want to get a better content experience from Relevant, i.e. no ads, you get an ad-free version of this podcast, unlimited ad-free reading at relevantmagazine.com when you sign up for Relevant Plus. Plans start as low as $250 a month. We'd appreciate the support, and I think you'll enjoy it. Make sure to follow us on all the socials. Make sure to sign up for our newsletter to get our best content delivered right to you every weekday morning. And on that note, we'll wrap it up. I'm Cameron Strang.
I'm Jesse Carey.
Oh, sorry. I'm Derek Miner.
I'm Emily Brown.
And I'm Marty.
We'll see you on Tuesday. Have a great weekend, everyone.
Thanks for listening to the Relevant Podcast. Check out our features, interviews, and news updates every day at relevantmagazine.com. And make sure to follow Relevant on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram for the latest. For more great podcasts, browse the shows on the Relevant Podcast Network, which you can find at our site. And while you're there, don't miss the all-new era of Relevant Magazine. A new issue releases every other month at relevantmagazine.com.
I might actually run for office.
Relevant Podcast Network.